Let's talk singing.
Welcome, Jane.
Hello.
How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good. Where are you right now? Are you at home?
I'm at home in Limerick, on Clancy Strand in my room.
Hmm.
If a cat interjects into the video at any point, I do apologize.
Please, I welcome cats interjecting. I can hear mine out in the living room crying because I've closed both doors. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So if
See,
your
I'm
cat
here
wants,
with the window open. I like to leave the window open and just look out. And we've got three cats, so they
nice.
come to visit me
Oh,
sporadically.
that's nice though. Are they your cats or are they kind of neighbors' cats and they come in?
No, they're the house cats. So they
Oh,
are like shared amongst all the people that live here, basically.
sweet.
And
Nice.
a dog. It's like, it's a happy old time up here.
Nice. And is it if I don't want to give away your address or anything, but I think I know where you might be living, where you can possibly have kind of cats and dogs on Clancy Strand in. Yeah,
Yes,
right.
it's that place.
That's yeah, I knew it. Yeah, exactly. Okay, excellent. Okay, great. Well, Jane, right? It's so good to have you here and so good to speak with you because yeah, I've been following a lot of your stuff that you've been doing over the years, I guess, and we know each other quite long and from
I know
from
you think you're a wee young whippersnapper.
Indeed, yeah. I can't remember ever being a whippersnapper, but I'm sure that I believe that maybe I was. But yeah. So we were neighbours in Mungret,
Mm.
and then Spotlight and stuff like
Go
that.
into Spotlight, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Go, go on the Spotlight buzz I stayed in Spotlight until they actually had to throw me out because I was too old.
Yeah,
Pretty much all of my like childhood into my teenage years. And then they're like,
exactly.
Jane, you're gonna have to leave next year. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I know, but
very
it's a place
upsetting.
that yeah, it's so welcoming in there, and Judy and Mags they do such a great job, and they're still doing it. I mean, what did they
Yeah.
celebrate 25 years there recently or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. And I had a little
Crazy.
girl here the other day, and she's in Spotlight, and she was, oh, I love Judy and Margaret. They're so great. And, it's just brilliant. It's this dynasty. Like, it's
Yeah,
just fantastic.
yeah. But I mean, they're
Yeah.
such a good team, and Judy and Mags. I mean, they're just so kind to each other, and they're so respectful. I think, and that's why it works. I think.
Yeah, completely. It's just a
Yeah,
great synergy. And they have
yeah,
great, like, their skills just really complement each other as well.
yeah. Absolutely. So maybe you want to just talk a small bit, just like an introduction to who you are, and because I know you, but maybe people watching might not, or they might know of your name and not really know where you kind of came from, and that could be really interesting to kind of hear about your journey to kind of where you are today.
Mm. Yeah, well, I guess I am from Limerick, and did, like I said, with the whole stage school thing for years, musical theatre, that kind of thing. And then I was singing. Once I left school, I was singing with bands in town in Limerick. So I was singing with like the Riverside's Jazz and Swing Band, which was like a 15-piece band. And that was my first ever band that I was ever in. So I feel incredibly like lucky that I kind of my first
Wow.
ever band was like a big band, with like a full brass section and like
Wow. What were they
all the
called?
instruments.
Riverside?
The Riverside Jazz and Swing Band.
Nice.
And they opened the Icon and Smiths, and that whole it was the house band of that venue when it first opened, and it was like the biggest venue in town. And yeah, it was like really, I was really quite young, and I think they put an ad in the paper, and I went in for an audition, and I sang like a Patsy Cline song or whatever. But yeah, yeah. So it developed from there. I was just like, God, this is really awesome, and like I'm getting paid and everything. This is just why I think I'm just gonna do this. So yeah, I kind of started singing with a couple of different bands around town, singing with the Funk Junkies for years. Um, and I was always kind of into writing and like words and lyrics, so I started
Mm.
writing stuff. Um, Collaborating with a couple of the DJs and stuff around, writing kind of dance tunes and that kind of thing. And then I moved to London because I thought I wanted to try and take the writing like as far as I could. And there wasn't really many people writing here at the time doing original music. Like it was a lot of covers work to be had, but like not much going on with original music in Limerick City, if you can believe it, because by contrast, today it's literally just hopping with original music, like, you
Yeah.
know.
And I think back then, I think the original music was more centered around kind of metal and rock music,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
rhythms and stuff.
exactly.
That was the original
Yeah,
music. Yeah.
for sure. And that was like, I mean, so very far away from stuff that I was kind of into. So I wouldn't have even really been aware of any of that kind of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just decided that I'd move over to London. So I've been singing and writing songs ever since, really. And I've done lots of different. The journey's taken many different twists and turns, which is nice. You
And
know.
did you feel like when you, let's say, when you moved to London first, so you had been writing original music here or there in Limerick,
Mm.
and then did you feel that there was yeah, more people to listen maybe, or more collaborations to be had in London? Did you get these opportunities? Did you kind of fall in with the right crowd?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to collaborate more. I wanted to learn more,
Mm,
you know,
mm,
and I just wanted that experience of like a big city. And so I started kind of making friends with London-based bands on MySpace and sending them like my music and stuff. And one guy got back to me and he was like, he ran this band called The Bridge, and which was like this incredible original funk music band, but like really high level funk music, like, and all the players were really, really like on it. So I kind of landed on my feet because basically I went over there and just started singing with those guys, and realized very quickly, like after my first gig, that I really had a lot to learn because I was singing with like these two incredible singers. Baby Soul, I don't know if you've heard of her. She was one of the contestants this year on The Voice. She's done backing vocals for everyone, Paloma Faith. Like, she's a real high-end session singer. And Janae, amazing singer, male singer. And so I was kind of in with them on my first gig, and I was a little bit like, okay, yeah, I need to learn how to sing, like really sing.
Need to learn how to sing, right?
Yeah, it's a bit of a baptism of fire, but it was excellent because I got introduced to loads of really great musicians really quickly.
Mm.
And I started taking lessons. I started taking singing lessons and trying to improve myself, you know.
Cool.
Yeah, that went, you know, sang with, then I got a gig singing with a blues band, which I then sang with for like pretty much the whole time I was there, for nearly 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was like regular work. That was every week, like a couple of gigs a week in blues and jazz venues and stuff around the city. And like, yeah, that was kind of my home band. And then everything I did from that, like that place kind of tumbled out from that band, if you know what I mean. So, yeah.
And with the funk band and the blues band, were you also then writing for these bands, or were you singing for the bands and then writing on your kind of downtime?
So the Bridge, I wrote 2 tunes for them. He was a serious writer, like, and arranger. Dave Holland is his name. So yeah, I was lucky enough to get one of my tunes. We did a big like session, like recording, down in a studio down under London Bridge at one point, and that song was included in it. And that was on YouTube. That's probably still on YouTube. Like, there's so much stuff on YouTube, like this, you know, floating around in the ether from your life, isn't it? It's a bit mad.
Some people have been talking about how it's gotta change.
Yeah, I think that's still to be seen on YouTube somewhere.
Okay, I'll find it and stick it in the video, I'd say.
God. I'm very young in it. It's a very long time ago. Yeah, and then the writing stuff. I was always finding basically collaborations. Like I started working in a music studio out in Latimer Road, and I met lots of people there. I was just working in reception, but I met lots of people to collaborate with there. So I started like working as a writer and a session singer in the recording studio upstairs from the reception downstairs. That was we wrote for other artists, and I did like some, you know, the way you just do like session vocals for oohs and ahs, backing vocals for other bands and whatnot, you know. Yeah, and I think we wrote a whole album, and it's a real shame because we never released it for a band called what did we call ourselves again? I can't remember. It was like it was like a collaboration of like rap and like big music, like Massive Attack-esque, with like floaty female vocals and like then rapping, and yeah, we did a whole album and then just didn't go ahead, fell apart, didn't work, you know. Such is life. It happens all the time. Yeah.
And with this, I mean, that's I don't know, that's really cool actually. I really like that story of like starting off in a reception in a recording studio, and then by matter of just being there and having the kind of the balls to talk to people and kind of say, I am a singer and I'm looking to collaborate, and then these you know, opportunities arise. Yeah,
it's incredible, like how one thing that I found London really addictive. Like that's why I stayed there for such a long time, because it never felt like the right time to leave, because you were always like hanging on for this, like this person's interested, or there's that manager, or like there's this band that you started working with this artist doing backing vocals for them, and that might go somewhere and this might go somewhere. So it was like really hard to just walk away from it, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I started to feel a little bit like the singing, the blues stuff, and that like week in week out like singing covers stuff I started to feel like in a real rut with it, and so that I went and did a degree then in songwriting, just to do something else, you know. I just needed to kind of like change it up a bit. So I did a degree in the Institute of Contemporary Music.
Nice.
And I did a degree in songwriting there, and that was like the best 3 years of my life. To just be able to write songs every day was really special, you know.
Yeah, and I'm sure in the degree they obviously were songwriting classes, but also probably business classes and how to manage yourself and promote yourself, and right.
Yeah, it was all encompassing. It was a great degree. Like I started getting into music production through doing that degree.
Right.
Which was something I never really would have given. I would have never tried that, you know, if I hadn't had the space and like a tutor and been encouraged towards it. And yeah, just learning from like really amazing people, like Pete Conor from D Ream was one of my tutors, and Bill Lawrence from Snarky Puppy was another tutor of mine.
What?
Yeah, Bill taught us like harmony and theory. Not that I actually managed to soak up any of like that information, because I'm really bad at music theory.
But even just to be in the same room and to be feeling the same energy as Bill Lawrence, I'd say that was something incredible.
Amazing. He was an amazing like presence, you know, in a really gentle kind of way. Just someone with so much knowledge, like, and really kind with it, you know. It was great. It was really great to be taken seriously like that. They kind of would listen to everyone's music and give like, you know, credible listening to it, and give you feedback about it and take it seriously. And that kind of was really, really like important from my development, I think, just my confidence.
For sure. I'm so sorry. I'm just looking out my window and Simba, my cat, is crying in at me, and I have a feeling I might have locked him out on the balcony.
Why don't you let him in?
I'm gonna have to let him in. Just give me.
Let him in.
I might take him in
That's
here.
Simba.
Simba has what do you call it? Simba has abandonment issues.
Oh, bless. Ginger cat. Go Gingers.
Yeah, he doesn't like to be alone too long. Right, Simba?
Yeah. Like most cats,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
fair enough.
It is fair enough. He has every right. And what he does usually
Really beautiful, isn't he? He's kind of unusual coloring, like.
absolutely, and he's quite
Yeah.
he's short-haired, which usually cats this color are quite kind of long-haired. And he's yeah, dude, I know. This is what he
He's
does.
giving you a hug. How
Yeah.
cute.
This is what he does every day at about 6 o'clock when I'm in here working, usually in my office or my studio or whatever, and he'll kind of knock on the door or whine and whinge, and he'll just want to come in and just sit and just kind of be here, just be
Yeah,
around.
be around human,
Yeah.
around human man.
Exactly. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, fantastic. So you did your. So this is going to be very, very distracting. But Simba, you'll be quiet, won't you?
It's great. I love that there's a cat in this. It's making my day.
I kind of love it too. I'm waiting for your cat to come in the window now.
I know, right? Where are my cats when I need them?
But yeah, so you did your degree in songwriting, and did you feel that when you were saying that when you started doing music production, did you feel that kind of changed your songwriting abilities, or like did it upgrade, or did it kind of take you in a completely different direction, or were you, what was the process?
Well, I think it helped me to find myself, like, because when you're a singer and you don't have those skills, you're always relying on someone else to hear the song for you, and hear the ideas that you have in your head, like to make them into like something. And yeah, when you understand production, you can do it for yourself, and that's really, really powerful.
Yeah, much more control, and you can test stuff out, right? You really have time as well.
Yeah.
You're not under someone else's watch. I think that's very,
Yeah.
very cool.
Exactly. Like it's great. It was a really freeing thing, and yeah, I think it helped me to find my sound. I was always like kind of drifting around a little bit before that with different things, and I probably still am, to be honest. But it was just really, I mean, just to be able to sit and like surf through like millions of sounds and millions of drum sounds and I just did that for like about a year and a half of my degree, just sitting there, just like discovering things,
Just testing things out.
Yeah, and it was great. It was just brilliant. It was really fun. It was just really great fun. And I was making kind of eccentric pop music for a while because of it.
Right. Yeah, that's actually what I was going to ask you. Like because when I was following you when you were in London, I was listening to all this kind of, you were putting out really, this kind of, as you said, eccentric pop music, or like, and it was also quite electronic-y kind of sounding, right? So what made you go down there? Was that because you had the time to kind of produce yourself and produce your own music? I'm sorry.
Yeah, literally it was that being given that time, and I mean, I'm not like a player. I can play what chords what I want to put into the song, but I'm not like a musician that plays really well. So that kind of like meant that I was kind of compensating for that, I guess, with like unusual sounds, and like really thinking about the sound aesthetic of stuff rather than the like technical makeup of the chord structures and stuff like that,
Yeah.
Yeah. And in that, like, there's a journey in that, like, and then I mean, I've peeled it back now quite a lot, but it was really good to go there,
You have to push out the boundaries, see what you're capable of, and then maybe rein it back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And what did you use? What kind of were you a Logic person, or were you a Pro Tools, or were you
Yeah,
Ableton, or were you
I
what were
was
you doing?
using Logic. We were taught on Logic.
That's great. Yeah.
Um, Literally, just like I was just only using Logic for ages. Also, like the guy who was teaching me on the course took on some of my stuff and like mixed it and like made it sound really, really great.
Mm.
Which is stuff that I put out just before I kind of came home. Um, and then when I came home, I wanted to perform that material, so I started learning how to use Ableton,
Mm. Nice.
which was a pretty steep learning curve coming from Logic to Ableton,
Yeah.
and learning how to use like the controller. Like I bought a APC controller and stuff.
Really. Yeah.
So yeah, that was like quite a steep learning curve. It's a very different like animal to Logic, you know.
It's a whole other world, right? When you're using these
Yeah,
sample-based things and you're performing with samples and trying to make what you can do in the studio, but actually make it applicable to live setting. It's really
yeah.
exciting. I've always wanted to go down that route, and I've kind of been playing with that, but never really pushed myself to do it live. I'd love to do it at some point.
Yeah, it's cool. It's terrifying, like,
Yeah.
because all you do is like press one wrong button
Yeah.
and everything goes wrong. Like, and it's quite a terrifying thing to do.
Yeah.
Um, but when you start to get really comfortable with it, like, it's great. And I haven't done loads of performances with it. You know, I've done a handful, but every time I've done one, I've managed to improve. You know, on the next one.
Sure.
Um, and yeah, I started to add players, so I'd have like the funny sounds and then like a drummer and a bass player. I had a percussionist and a bass player the first time I did it. um and yeah, it's great. It's really tough to get it right because everything has to be like you have to really have yourself organized,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and the stuff is on click for the drummer. Everything has to happen on time. There isn't like the way I had it set up, there wasn't a lot of like wriggle room,
Mm.
which I found really hard. So if I do use it again in live performance, I'll try and make it a bit freer.
Yeah, I was going to ask, was there, as you said, there wasn't any wiggle room, so kind of there wasn't any point in it where you were kind of improvising with it on the spot. It was very, in a sense, what you practiced, what you wrote, that's what you were going to show, right?
Hmm. At the big Yeah, for the first couple of times I did it, it was like I had it so prepared and practiced because it was so new to me, and I just like that's the key, I suppose, to doing
Mm.
anything new. The last maybe two times now, I haven't performed with it for since winter time, but the last couple of times I actually just did it by myself. I didn't have any other players with me, and I played around with it more, and that was more fun. And I did more live looping stuff with my voice, and yeah, like I was trying to learning how to loop and learning how to do it live, and then be learning how to free myself up a little bit as well, and learning how to find some improvisation with it.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think it's important, like when you start, really know what you're doing if you're going to go and do it in front of people, and then as you move on, like learn how to free yourself up with it more.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And with your vocal looping as well, like what was your um I guess maybe a question I could ask is where would you kind of put your voice in a sense of what kind of I mean when you were getting singing lessons, let's say in London, or what place were you, what did you work on in your voice, and what was your most comfortable place? I guess that maybe could be the question. What's your
Mm.
most comfortable place of singing?
Yeah, so um well, what's most comfortable for me is to be singing in like my chest, I guess my chest voice, you would say, and maybe like my upper mix register. The mix in the middle is not a fun place for me. And then as I go higher again, I'm very happy to be in my head voice, you know.
Yeah.
But the mix has always been like it's a hard one area. I'm still working on it now. And I definitely wouldn't consider myself to be like a very technical singer. I think I'm more a character singer than like a real technical high level vocalist. You know what I mean?
Very interesting. The character singer. What do you mean by that?
I just think my voice has its own kind of tone,
Ah,
and it's
okay.
quite a recognizable tone, and
Mm,
it does what it does. And there are limitations to it. It's not like a limitless type of voice that I have, I suppose, where I can do loads of runs and I can do like big, big like belty jumps around and of my range and stuff. Like I kind of know what I can do well,
yeah.
and I kind of just work to that strength. Um, yeah, and tone like that. Like I
Mm.
like playing with tone. I like playing with like something really forward, and then maybe like really dropping things down and going back a little bit, and that kind of experimentation.
For sure, and also when you're doing looping vocals, I'm sure you're always trying to find ways in which it can sound, yes, like you, but also bring in different textures, and that's maybe
Mm,
then this tone thing that you're talking about, like really
yeah,
placing
exactly.
it differently. Yeah.
You know, yeah, and like playing with that as well. Like just what right if I'm doing a low layer of, oh my God, that bird is freaking out. Can you hear that bird?
Totally. I kind of love it, but he's definitely he's I don't know what he's doing. He's maybe
I'm gonna close the window. We get like it's sorry.
no,
We
it's
get
good.
like so many crazy bird scenarios going on here between the cats hunting them and
Yeah,
just all the trees that are around.
sure.
Um, what are we saying? Talking about different layers and tone. Yeah, I suppose
Yeah.
when in the lower kind of in the lower register, yeah, I like to kind of have. It's nice to have it whispery and kind of a little bit growly and sexy tones.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
stack up really nicely. Then, if you're trying to stack on a really like, what would you say? I feel like when you're trying to stack vocals on top of each other and they're really like aspirate, like there's a lot of connection in the voice.
Nice. Yeah.
For me, I think it's nicer to have more air.
Mm.
Like when you have lots of like nice airy tones like stacked on top of each other, I kind of enjoy that type of sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's
yeah.
probably something. I'm so sorry. Simba, this is what he does as well. He sits on the piano, and he was in his box a minute ago. So, there you go, Duty. Okay, I'm just gonna hold him for a minute. Yeah, I think that as you said, like this airy sound can definitely. I think it's definitely something really cool to do with like the harmonics and the overtones that happen with kind of air and coming through the vocal folds and stuff like that. And it's I think that's always, and I'm totally with you. I think that that's for like backing vocals or for creating textures. An airy sound in the vocal is so much more
Mm,
pleasing, and also
it really
mixes
is.
much nicer together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's like some of the best backing singers I've seen. Like you kind of you can't really even hear them a lot of the
Mm.
time.
Mm.
Like it's there, but you're mentally not really registering them.
Yeah.
That layer is kind of just happening subconsciously. So I think that's a really great like backing vocal sound
Totally,
to
that's the
get.
sweet spot. Yeah, that's what kind of
Yeah.
producers are also looking for, and also lead vocalists sometimes don't. I feel with some bands they think a good singer is what you need as a. When I say a good singer, I mean maybe like a solo singer is what I should be looking for getting backing singers because I know they're good. But actually, some
Mm,
solo singers can't necessarily do the blending thing, or they don't know when to
yeah.
pull back, or
Mm,
create textures because they don't need to when they're solo singing in a way.
yeah, for sure. Like backing vocals is an art form all unto itself.
Yeah, totally.
Um, yeah, I find it's actually a lot nicer singing backing vocals, I find, because there's no pressure, but you still
Mm.
get to sing.
Mm,
you
mm.
know,
Yeah,
you get to be on stage and be part of it, but you don't have all that pressure of being up front. Like,
absolutely. But there's also
yeah,
nothing better, I think, than singing with other people and
yeah,
creating
other
harmony.
voices.
Oh, that's
Mm,
what I miss from doing choirs and stuff like that's what Limerick was so great for when I was there, and I'm so grateful for all the opportunities to have had singing together with people and leading armies guys and stuff like that, and all the crew, and Miles and Alan Keary then back then, and that sense of that connecting, and maybe on even a spiritual level as well as kind of this harmonic level that there's nothing like it in the world.
Yeah, it really isn't. There really isn't. Like, it is, yeah, I do think it's a spiritual connection. It's like, it's really great.
Yeah.
Something happens, something magical happens when you like meet like other voices that like each other and like to sing together, and it's a magical thing for sure.
And so, so you went to London. I know I'm coming back to this little moment. So you went to London, and now you're back in Limerick, right? So what made you move back to Limerick? What was, maybe, I mean, if it's personal, it doesn't matter. You don't have to go into too much detail, but kind of what was your kind of, okay, Limerick seems cool now. I'll go back to it.
Yeah, it wasn't even a case of like, I was kind of more feeling very, very tired from being in London. And I felt like the year after my degree, I was just drifting. Like, I wasn't really, the degree was intense. Like, in the last year of a degree is pretty intense. And then the year that I finished, like, I was just kind of drifting. I wasn't doing as much of the function work, and I was writing. I was always writing. I was writing top lines, and I was doing bits and pieces, but I was like, I could just do this from home. Like, I don't really need to be here anymore, and I just needed a break. So I came home, and that was kind of a bit of a like culture shock for a while, because everything was quieter, and I kind of do the buzz of the city and people being around you all the time. There's a certain energy to that. And I lived in Camden, which was like really, really busy, like every time of the day and night. And then I was like at home in the countryside, and it was just so much quieter. And that was like a bit of a decompression. Yeah. And I was lucky because Dara Flynn was putting a band together for that club that, well, it used to be Trinity Rooms. And then it was reopening under Habitat, the name of Habitat. Dara Flynn put it together, a live band for the Courtyard. So I got to meet and play with like the best guys around pretty much straight away. Mike Hogan on guitar, and Cian Daly on bass, and Bart Kiley on drums, and Martin Atkinson on keys. So it was like really, really great, like thing to walk home and be part of, So I was, that was like a funk kind of band. It was really good fun. It was brilliant. We did that for a while, and been doing like session vocals, a lot more session vocals online and voiceover stuff since I've come home. That's been good as well.
Because I was just looking up as well before I called you that there was, were you on an agency in London as well for like an voiceover or actress work or something like that?
No, I was on an agency for voiceover work. No, I do my voiceover work here, and that kind of has started up since I came back. Okay. So I was on Soundbetter, which is like a platform for singers and musicians online. And someone contacted me through Soundbetter. They're based in Spain, and they were like, "Oh, this might be a bit random, but have you ever thought of doing like voiceover work? Because I think your voice would suit it." So I was like, "Yeah, I'll give it a go." And it was great. I've been doing, I got to do jingles for like children's toy adverts, basically.
Deadly.
Yeah. So I've recorded a whole album of children's songs for this like children's product, and this is my secret life.
Yeah, that's so great. I love that. But I mean, that's so great as a vocalist to be stretching yourself in different directions and having to have direction from a person and being in this kind of contained project where it has to be, it's aimed towards kids, which means that maybe the sexy voice isn't going to work all the time, that you have to kind of readapt and stuff.
Mm.
That's so great. I love that.
Yeah, it's been really random, to be honest, just absolutely random. I like singing along to things here sometimes. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what is this that I found myself doing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's really fun. I really enjoy it, actually.
Good. And what have you felt has been kind of your most like, where do you feel your voice has progressed into, like in the past couple of years? Like, I know you were doing the songwriting, the function band, the funk band, the blues band. Now you're working again on your own stuff. Obviously, you've always been working on your own stuff, but have you felt any kind of shift in in vocal control or?
Yeah, I have. Just I felt a shift. I think it's just getting in, like I'm in my 30s now, so it's like getting into that time where your voice starts to change a bit as a woman. I don't know, does it happen for a guy as well?
I think we do it a bit earlier and then a bit later than women. Isn't it?
Right,
The,
okay.
the break happens earlier for us and then later we tend to start getting a bit more bassy.
Yeah, like there's definitely the power, like my voice wouldn't be as powerful as it used to be,
Hmm.
say when I was in my 20s or whatever, and I was singing like over like big bands and stuff. But I do think I've got better range now,
Cool.
just
Okay.
from training. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just from training the range, like I can stretch it quite high into my falsetto. Um, but yeah, but then trying to find the power in the mix like is different now.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to kind of learn. I'm kind of trying to relearn the mix again, like, and coming at it from a different approach.
Right. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I mean, like my kind of lower register is always like fine.
Yeah, your
It's
speaking register is always going to be there and be nice
yeah,
and
easy.
powerful.
Yeah.
And so you were doing the funk stuff, and then there's the Jane Fraser trio. Did I say see or something like that? So it was more like a jazzy kind of stuff. Did I say that
Yes,
too?
that was jazz, like jazz function work,
Yeah.
which has been amazing because I've gotten to meet some really great new people through that stuff, since I moved home.
Mm.
And I've done last two Christmases, New Year's residency in the Manor, like in Adair Manor, um, doing jazz with Paddy Shanahan. He's done a good few of the jazz gigs out there with me, and he's like just an incredible musician. And
He's
so
if anyone hasn't heard Paddy, I'm gonna put some links to some of his stuff that he puts up. Paddy is just he's a crazy good jazz guitarist.
yeah,
And
so
musician
I
and
was
trumpet player, I think as well, right?
he plays like flute and saxophone and
Yes.
guitar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's
And he's
just
a
a really
lovely
special
guy to
person.
boot.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
And so we actually started writing original music together then because we were enjoying the function work so much. So we've put a band together called Eve's Record Box, and we're going to.
He's
It's
gonna
so
come over
funny.
again, and he's now in his
Yeah.
box. I should kind of show this. I should. Okay, let's see if this works. Because he's now over here, and there's a box that I got. Just
Oh, cute.
underneath him.
Isn't it funny how they love boxes? Like they love sitting in boxes.
He can't get any sort of thing from Amazon or anything like that or whatever, and we put it in the kit or the sitting room, and instantly, like in within 2 minutes, Simba's like,
In the box. Like I'm in the box now.
yeah, exactly. This is me now. This
I
is
am
my home.
home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't disturb me. I'm fine. Thank you.
Yeah,
But anyway.
it's a great,
But
great
yeah,
phenomenon.
so original music now with Paddy is more so in the line or going towards the kind of jazzy new soul kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, it's jazz fusion.
Mm.
So we recorded like an EP before the lockdown with Ben Wonders on drums and Danny Lanham on bass.
Oh,
Um, yeah, it came out really well. I can't wait to share the music with
I can't wait
everyone.
to hear it. Sounds amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was like the lockdown's been funny because the plan was to kind of like finish the EP, and then do some gigs and like put out the songs. But we haven't been able to play together for ages, so we've just decided to start putting the songs out anyway. And we'll just, I mean, thing is with like something that I'm only just starting to understand, is that you have to just start somewhere. You have to just put out, like, just put some stuff out and just keep going, rather than waiting for like the perfect set of circumstances to happen, where you're gigging loads and it's like you've got loads of followers and blah 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 and this is happening. It's kind of more important to just actually start releasing songs and like plugging away and releasing and keep it moving.
Constant content is something that is, I guess, people forget that's really where the quality is. I mean, they also have to be good quality. Obviously, it's not quantity over quality, but still, it's like consistent, good things that you're happy with putting out.
Yeah.
I think you're dead right. Yeah. I mean, do you have that's maybe something, because I know we're gonna be. I don't want to keep you too long because I know that you have something to do. So we might finish up soon. But the last one, maybe I was gonna say is, okay. So I have two last questions for you. One is advice for singer-songwriters starting. I think you kind of just hit on it there, but maybe you can kind of expand on it a small bit more. Maybe some things that people can do, places people can go, resources people can find. And then the second question is then, what are your go-to pre-performance warm-ups, your routine? What kind of gets you psyched up? What gets you in the mood to be able to perform?
Okay. So the first question, advice to people starting up, like singer-songwriters starting out, I would say is I guess make sure that whatever you're putting out is something that you are happy with, but like don't become overly anal about it at the same time. Like, let it go. when you've and finish stuff. So like finish your song, like, and if it's the first song, or you're in the very beginning stages of your songwriting and stuff, allow yourself to be okay. Like, allow yourself to put something out and move up, like, and keep moving up and keep moving up and keep moving up. Because if you're waiting to like write the perfect song and to like sound like, your favorite artist, you're going to be hanging around for a really long time, and you mightn't be still going like this time next year, this time the year after, because life just happens. So it's important to learn, like, release your single, learn from that experience, learn how to promote it, learn how to, pull good people in towards you, to your project, learn how to get people listening to you, learn how to get people working with you, and then move on and move on and move on, like progress, I guess. That's what I would say.
Excellent. And do you think that people have to go and do a songwriting course to get to understand or to learn how to do all of those things, or are there places or people on the internet that people can kind of look at, or things to read?
Yeah, there's well, definitely on the promotion side of things, like everyone's feed is now just full of like Indiepreneur, Creative Juice, like all of these people who are actually dishing out really good information. So it's worth like scrolling through YouTube. If you're releasing a song and you want to learn how to promote it, like, go on YouTube, like, and just type in promoting my music, and there's like a pile of information about doing that.
Right.
In terms of like peeling it back to literally, right, I think I want to write songs, and I just think doing it a lot is really valuable. Like listening and then doing it a lot. But I do think it's important to not be too comparative. Like, own your own stuff, like,
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's where people then start to shut down because they're comparing to things that have been made in a big, very expensive studio, or comparing yourself to songwriters that have been doing it for years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. And if you like a lyric and it sounds a bit weird, or if you like something and you believe in it, then like that's enough. Like that's enough validation. Um, leave in the personal details are great. A song full of generic stuff is less likely to appeal to people. Like those little nuanced details about your life, or whatever it is you're writing about, or that weird lyric or that weird reference, like they're the things that stick out in songs.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, dare to be weird. That's what I would say.
Dare to be weird. Excellent. That's the slogan. That's amazing. James Fraser, dare to be weird. I love it actually. No, that's great. Absolutely. That sounds fantastic. Yeah.
um, and then I guess in terms of what I do before I sing, I stretch my body because
Excellent.
I have so much tension in my body. I try to, if I know I'm going to be singing a lot, I'll try and do yoga like a lot as well. And not drinking like too much beforehand, like even the day before, the night before, don't go out in a mad one and then expect to get up and sing really well for like an hour. But everyone's different though. Like some people can get away with it. I just can't personally. Um, I do my warm-ups, like, you got to do your motorboat
Mm.
and your sirens and all those good things, and tongue rolls and stretching out your tongue and your jaw and like massage everything. That's what I do.
Excellent. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I mean, like all of those things are things that I know people know about, but I feel a lot of singers tend to kind of just not do them because before the performance, people are so psyched up and they're thinking about lyrics and they're thinking about what they wear and they're thinking about their hair and they're thinking about the set list and they're thinking about all of these things. But we have to remember that, if the drummer goes on stage without having stretched his wrists, without having, like built up kind of, like done a bit of movement and stuff like that, he's not going to be able to play to the best of his ability. And so with
Yeah.
singers, that it's really people, I think singers a lot think that singing exercises are just for the singing room, in the sense of where you're getting a lesson or where you're whatever it is. But it really is so important, as you said, like stretching, and it's quite sensual, right? It's quite, it's quite nice for you
Yeah.
to do before singing, and stretching the
Yeah.
jaw and the tongue and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes so much of a difference. Like there's a real difference when you do those things beforehand.
Mm.
Um, yeah. And drinking licorice tea is good as well.
Licorice tea?
Hmm.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm not a big fan of licorice, but I trust it. I would trust, I guess, yeah, it's probably the really good stuff in
It's
licorice.
good. It kind of lines your voice.
Mm,
So
nice. Okay,
yeah,
I'm gonna try that out. Yeah. Licorice tea.
licorice
Good.
tea.
Great. Well,
Are
Jane,
you-
thanks so much. Yeah, I mean, this is great. I mean, I was, as I said, I've been following you a long time, and we know each other a long time, and it was just good to chat. And also,
Yeah, for sure.
what we talked about as well is so great, and it's so cool to hear your story and what you're doing, where you came from, and also that kind of advice um, yeah, for people that want to go into that business. It's very important to see, and from a strong woman that has done this and made decisions and was bold, and it's great. It's really really cool.
Thank you very much.
No props.
Thanks for
Okay.
having me. All right.
So I'm gonna turn the recording off now. But we can have
Okay,
a
cool.
chat after. Yeah, so don't go away.
Thanks. Yeah, great.
Okay, bye.
Cool. Bye.